Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for May 1st and 2nd, 2020. How are you doing? Well, moving into some different energies, you can feel this. It's good to be out of April 2020. We'll see what May brings, May flowers, perhaps. Today is the day that Mercury and Uranus are together. Mercury is at exactly 6 degrees today, right there with Uranus and Taurus. And so the energy of this is like, how do we get oriented into this new world? It's interesting. Yesterday, we talked about being on the edge of a precipice and can we make the leap? And there's this energy of kind of like, we've already gone beyond that in a way. Like you can stay dangling or you can make the leap. You might have already made the leap and you're kind of flailing. But it's a very interesting time because Mercury, after having gone that retrograde over, Pisces, Aquarius, Pisces, what needs to change in our thinking, in our everyday reality, our conceptual reality, in order to move into this new age. So Mercury now hanging out with Uranus and Taurus is in council. And it's about getting oriented in our brain. And it's a really strange time because we've got this like fourth dimensional energy going on, which is where everything is reflected back. Everything is in opposites. Everything is like whatever exists and has got this opposite. It's like we're like trying to move through this portal. And the fourth dimension is a place where we're supposed to visit but not stay. And that seems to be the mechanism of control energies that are going on right now, which have to do with trying to keep us in the 4D, right? In the nightmare, which is where whatever you think happens. But that's actually like an opportunity to move beyond. And it's like, so it's kind of about, so we have all these timelines come together right now, and they're layered as we go through this portal. And then it's kind of like whatever happens in energetically for you individually and collectively for the planet is in the electromagnetic field is going to decide where you shoot off after you get out of the portal, right? And so we've got the darkest dark and the lightest light. We've got like the bloom. So a lot of what's going on right now for these souls is that we've been able to live our life and just kind of let people be where they're at and kind of go along with the program, right? But now we're being shown the reality of how asleep and how resistant most of humanity is to spiritual awakening. And it's bringing up deep, dark feelings within these souls that have dedicated their whole experience in this earth evolution to bringing the light to move forward this spiritual evolution. And this feeling of like, whoa, it's like we've been able to in the past, you could just ignore that. Now it's on the table, right? So we got like a lot of the darkest things from the Piscean age blooming. We also have the darkest things about fears of the future, the lower octave of the Aquarian age, and that's not what we're choosing. I feel like we've already made it beyond that, but we are being shown the level of what could be waiting for us in the lower timeline, right? Which is a police state, totally controlled technologically. We're all just kind of soul sucked and into the robot. We're just part of the lower technological matrix, right? And that's being shown to us, and it's right there. It's not like some futuristic thing, right? I mean, it's already happening in China, full on. And so we've got this like dark blooming of, especially for these souls, of feeling like where you weren't able to complete your mission in the past. This is because the North Node is about to move over into Gemini, South Node into Sagittarius. A lot of regrets coming up about the past and whether or not, it's almost like these souls have some programming typically around whether or not you have permission to be in your spiritual light. So this is kind of the crux of the issue right now for these souls, because it's like we're in this strange place of in between and we're trying to pop out, right? Out of the herd we're trying to do it our own way. We're trying to establish our own high vibrational frequency, not in the collective soup and the sheep, right? And yet so this is what a lot of what this Uranus and Taurus is about for these souls, because Taurus is ruled by Venus and it speaks to self-worth and whether or not we deserve. And so these souls are being faced with this, where you came in to this earth evolution with this huge, just like fire and love and devotion and light. And then it was like the forces just toppled you down. And some part of your soul is a very sensitive soul, as a rather naive soul to the level of duality and evil on the earth. You got knocked down and you were like, oh, and you kind of bought into this energy that you failed in your mission, except for that it was only one little piece of your mission. Like this project you guys have been working on in your soul groups has gone on for eons, right? So, but that energy of feeling like you failed, it's like, then you don't deserve your spiritual path and purpose, which is ridiculous, but that's just kind of how these souls feel. And this is the precipice these souls are at, because it's like, if you're going to break out of the herd mentality and be different and walk on your own path of freedom, you've got to enact that spiritual will. You've got to know you deserve it. And this is the thing where it's like, deserve, not deserve. That's crazy, because it's just who you are, right? But these souls have been deliberately disconnected from who they are, like just from the very get-go in this earth evolution. The people around you just trying to convince you that, you thinking you have some sort of thing you need to do here and want to do in this evolution is egotistical, and it's like, these souls have this deep and powerful yearning and a feeling like they're supposed to do something, and yet profound and destructive issues around self-worth and whether or not they deserve to be in their spiritual light. And that's where we got to like throw all that garbage aside. It's like stacked up over lifetime. So it's intense. It's not easy, because you got to remember that you're dealing with, you couldn't harmonize and reintegrate all these dark things that happened to you in past lives until now. So you've got to pile up, right? And now that we're in the portal, we've got to face it, right? Just like humanity has got to face it's a face up to whatever it can handle as far as the delusions of what we've been told. and if you want to stay in the lies and be a sheep, humanity, then you're going to go into control. You're going to lose your soul. And then if you're going to decide to wake up and go step into freedom, then, so I think we're like sorting out, we're all together in this layered timeline portal, and then we're going to sort out into I think maybe like the positive timeline, the new earth energy, where you're going because you're already there, part of you. And then whatever the negative creation needs to have happen. Right. And it's like we're in a war of timelines right now, because in the portal, we all got to go together. But for these souls, what they're feeling is this like bloom of the darkest things from the past and the most scariest things from the future. And this feeling of just being stuck. Right. And so, because it's like oh man, I can just feel this, like these souls trying to lead the way into the new. And there's like, you're yoked with this like ropes and heavy boulders and like ball and chains. You got all this kind of stuff. And it's like this effort involved. The effort energy, the struggle energy, the battle energy has to do with these loyalty contracts. And so like the fear of leaving people behind, but also this like whether or not you have self-worth enough for your greater, bigger truth, which is this massive spiritual power that you have. Just by definition, you are a star, you're stardust, you're here to express that. And yet you've been programmed and disconnected from it. You don't feel worthy of it. You're not quite good enough. And it's funny because we're like asking permission from these lower karmic relationships, right? Like somebody just give me a tiny bit of validation, and then I can maybe come into my bigger self. And it's like, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. This energy around you by design is to keep you from that. right? And this is this fundamental shift for these souls, because once we do make that shift and step into that, dimensional frequency, then the energies are supporting us in who we are, right? But as long as we're staying in the lower paradigm, carrying boulders and trying to pull everybody along that's not ready to go, then we're going to feel the struggle, the burden, the effort, the low self-worth, the garbage feelings, right? So I'm just seeing people, these souls straddled. You got like one little toe over in the new, and then it's like somebody comes along and reminds you, who are you to think you can go there? Who are you that you think you can embody this light? What about us? We want that light. That's our light, remember? So it's like, whoa, piles and piles of contracts for these souls about where you kind of, and that makes sense. These contracts make sense. Say in ancient times where you were maybe a leader or a guide, for humanity. And they're like, oh, there you are. Cool. Why don't you just drop everything and take care of all of my problems? You're here for me, right? And so it's a tricky place, and we're just back and forth right now. But I think that's the message here in our orientation to trying to step over that threshold into the new, has to do that if you're feeling heavy, if you're feeling struggle, if you're feeling effort, if you're feeling low feelings about yourself, that's a bloom of the loyalty contracts and the unresolved personality constructs from the past. And then if you're feeling light and free and full of love and this is the energy of who you are, this is the truth of who you are, creative energy, hope, that's when you're doing it right. Not that we don't feel bad, right? Like we need to feel our feelings and express those feelings, but some part of you, can you have that happen and stay in the observer, the awareness of that bigger self? And it's interesting because it's like we're being asked to embrace and embody and incarnate this bigger self, except for we don't even know. We've been deliberately kept from this part of ourselves, right? And so it's like a first love, right? Like you're just meeting in your first date, and you're like, you have this profound connection. It's like what we've all been looking for in love relationships, these souls, this ideal. And it's like the person, the energy you want in your life, that soul connection you're looking and yearning for, it's you. It's this bigger part of you. And you are never going to find anything close to satisfying in a personal relationship with another person. It's just not possible, because you came here to embody this bigger spiritual self. You've already done it before. You've already gone through spiritual ascension. And so why not now? Right? And that's the energies right now. Like if you feel that squeeze, if you're feeling that psychic attack, if you're feeling that struggle, if you're feeling that everything working against you right now, that's real, but it's lower paradigm. And it's there. So it's like it's part of this fourth dimensional wormhole thing we're in, is that everything negative is also very positive, and everything positive has a negative. And it's like, we're trying to come out of this duality consciousness. So use whatever's happening to go there for your permission to be in that bigger spiritual self and embody it. But know that you don't know who that is, so it feels uncomfortable. It's really big. It can barely function here. It does not get the lower three-dimensional. It means like you're going to have to go through a growth period. You're going to have to change your whole life. But it's this glorious, beautiful light of who you are, and it's all yours. But see, it can't land as long as you're giving it away to everybody else, right? So powerful energies. And coming up here, we've got this Scorpio full moon next Wednesday. The activation is going to be at 4 p.m. Mountain Time on Wednesday the 6th. That's exactly 12 hours before the exact time of the full moon in Scorpio. This is a very powerful turning point, huge culmination of energies we want to be aware of, especially Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, leading up to probably Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, leading up to these to this full moon in Scorpio. It's like a huge culmination of everything we've been going through. And because Mercury and the sun come together exact on Tuesday, and also Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is the exact of the Venus, the first Venus square Neptune that we've been feeling already for the last few days. And kind of, whoa, talk about trying to get oriented. Because it's like Mercury and the sun and Uranus all together, this whole thing that's been going on. It's like, okay, whoa, I had a flash of who I am and what I'm really doing here and what this is all about for me on a spiritual level. It's like, this is what this is about, right? And maybe it's good. We've been a lot of people given this time to sort out their life and be like this. And so Venus retrograde is powerful for this, because Venus retrograde is always like reevaluating our values, reevaluating what we want, what makes us feel good, what makes us feel loved. And then it's like, oh, so you're done with those manipulative, toxic relationships that want to feed on you parasitically? Really? Does that mean you're ready to own and cherish the light that you are so it can land home in your temple? But anyway, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, powerful energy. And then Tuesday is Cinco de Mayo, 5/5. That's the exact conjunction of Mercury and the sun. So it's like this flash of understanding trying to come in around who we are in our bigger, wider spiritual truth in this new age, and where we're at, where these souls are at, what you're doing here. It's not specific like, oh, this is my new job and my project, right? It's not that. It's an energy. And it's you're being asked to make a commitment. Recommit. You already made this commitment, which is part of your problem, but like really recommit, like, oh, I'm here for this. I'm not here to live out just my perfect, happy life. I'm here to live, to fully experience, to fully live as this bigger, wider spiritual truth. It goes beyond life and death. It goes beyond all of the stories we're being slammed with right now that are trying to keep us in that lower matrix. It's so much bigger, and that's what this Uranus, the sun Uranus we just had, Mercury Uranus today, and then the sun and Mercury come together, and it's like a council. It's like, oh, who are we, and what do we need to adjust in our thinking to go into this new energy, right? And then Venus square Neptune, about to take a retrograde, very uncomfortable, very uncertain, very insecure. Humans have a generally very narrow comfort zone in their, like, if their life is disrupted. And here we are, huge disruption, right? In everything we thought in this world. And this Venus retrograde speaks to this, like, who am I and what am I doing, and how do I even navigate, right? And move, what do I even want, and what am I even doing, and what's the point, and so that Venus square Neptune for the first hit is powerful energy, and it's about this reorientation we need to do if we're going to be true and really receive the activation of this Uranus, Sun, Mercury, right? It's like a flash of light of who you are. And then are you going to act on that? Or are you going to just go with the herd and get, it's more comfortable. It's really more comfortable to like just kind of go along with the program and, sure, I'll take a vaccination. It'll keep me safe, but as a soul that that's not what you're here for, and so huge culmination. Then on Wednesday, we got the Scorpio full moon. Now this Scorpio full moon feels like it's breaking the spell of some delusions, right? Because Scorpio wants the truth. Scorpio energy, people with a lot of Scorpio energy, they can walk into a room and like the effect of their energy can just get people to start admitting their lies and shadows, right? And then that Scorpio energy person is like blamed, right? Like team scapegoat. So the Scorpio full moon is like, hey, let's put a spotlight on some of the shadowy lies, because as soon as people understand, there's like so many piles of like garbage out there of lies in our world, and they're all waiting. It's like a big, I'm seeing a little like slash piles, right? After a clear cut in the woods. And they're all kind of like, who's going to light, which one is going to go up in flames first, right? Is it going to be like the truth of 9/11, JFK, Benghazi, Uranium One? And is it going to be pedophilia? Is it going to be, it's like, it's all just about to blow. Is it aliens? Is it, mind control? Is it like, there's so much information, and it's all just kind of what's going to be the thing that really sets off this big, cleansing purge. And that's the energy of the Scorpio full moon. The other energy of the Scorpio, so it's like shining a spotlight on the shadow individually, right? So the shadow of these souls is that low self-worth, you're garbage, you're somehow all the shame you've been programmed with, you've been holding the shame of humanity as a light worker for far too long. And that's what I've been shown. It's like, this is going to be a huge revealing and a powerful for these souls, because these very advanced light worker souls have come in with a purified astral body. And then they got imprinted with the shadowy energies and dark disease in their lineage. And, and dark got pulled into very dark energies. And then they blame themselves for this. And so they don't understand. There's like this programmed shame and low self-worth. And it's a spiritual issue, right? And so it might manifest as like regrets from your past, or, shadowy energies in your life or whatever. But when, say, the truth is revealed on a mass scale of the level of like really dark things that are happening in our world that we can't even handle, really, that's why we haven't come into the truth. But what I see is that these souls that are actually like purified, empath, very sensitive, advanced souls that have been carrying the collective shame are going to be like redeemed. It's like the great redemption, because like, I'm not sacrificing and eating children, right? Like, I think I might be an angel, right? It's like, so it's a really powerful energy of unveiling. And I've been shown this along before these stories even came out, before I even knew these deeper truths, right? I was shown that like at some point, these soul groups decide to take off the collective karma that this darkness energy, this blame and shame that you took on over lifetimes, that the light made the darkness, right? That your power was the problem. Those are all lies. There is no negative to your light. It's spiritual, right? There's the light and the dark that play out in this manifest world. But then there's the light that holds it all. Consciousness. That's where you came from. You came from on high to be a part of this world, and you fell deep into the distortions. And the distortion for you isn't like your sexual shame, although that might be there and programmed, or shame about, say, like a lot of times there's programmed shame just like in the female lineage, right? So that's all there. But your shame has to do with feeling like you failed as a spiritual light worker that came in to move this evolution forward. And that the misuse of technology, the detonation of nuclear weapons, you're blaming yourself for wars, for destruction, for probably the Atlantean catastrophes. And once it's clear that there's this non-human control energy, artificial intelligence monster, and what those people that are not human are capable of and what they've been doing to us, you are redeemed. And why not go now, right? And because that's what I was showing, is like when these souls lift off this garbage that they've been carrying, the karma they've been trying to heal for the control energies, like you didn't create this. You might have gotten pulled into it, but that was never your vibration. It was never in your alignment. It was never what you wanted. And so you cannot hold this energy anymore. And maybe this is this Atlas comet energy, because Atlas, is carrying the weight of the world. And that's what these souls are doing. And then I was shown that like when these soul groups lift off this burden of karma that's not theirs, that they've been trying to heal, because you can try all day long over lifetimes to heal karma that's not yours. You just can't do it. right? And maybe you carrying this darkness, this heaviness that's not actually your fault or your creation is keeping the control energies from having to face, their karma, which, they've already chosen to work outside of karma, which means they've chosen, if there is some sort of soul left, they're going to just go get recycled, right? But we don't have that choice, right? Because we came here to be and to stay in the light. And so why not now? That's what everything is saying. You came here for one thing, and it's not everything we've been told about the perfect life you want and where you want to live and your job and what this looks like in your little life and your relationships. It's not about that. It's about that all can come, right? But this is a solo mission. This, you can go and have a team, but when it comes to slay the dragon, you have to do that yourself. And this is why you've been isolated. And why not go into that point of light? So this is kind of this energy of the Scorpio full moon. The other thing about the Scorpio full moon, so we're like revealing the shadow, going into the portal, like we're already in the birth canal, right? There's no getting out of it. Why not go towards the light? Why not now? Into this spiritual awakening and evolutionary experience that we came here for. And then there's this huge attack going on with this current world situation, attack on humanity, right? And humanity, because that's what we have to understand. The control energies are not fully human. Maybe there's hybrid energy going on, but the dark arts and acts that are happening, humans, that's not capable. Like they don't go together, right? And so this energy of this attack on us right now is an attack on humanity around our ability to be close, to love each other, to touch each other. This is the human condition. Humans cannot thrive. It's been shown, right? A baby that gets food and warmth and whatever, but no connection, human connection, cannot thrive, right? And so you can see that this is an attack on our humanity, keep us separate from each other. I've been long shown that group events where we raise our vibration and consciousness, huge threat to the lower matrix. Is that why we're socially isolating right now? Right? And the thing about Scorpio is that Scorpio wants connection. Like Scorpio yearns more than anything for human connection. And so this Scorpio full moon is like breaking the spell of this social distance, right? Lie and illusion. And so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But it is time for us to create, to think about, I think maybe the Scorpio full moon can show us and start this movement towards peaceful demonstrations of groups getting together, and supporting each other. Our healing comes from love and touch and connection. That's what keeps us healthy, right? And so this is an attack on the humanness. And we're being told we're the disease, right? We have to stay away from each other, and each other is the problem. Except for most of us have already had coronavirus now. Like it's everywhere. It's like it's in the air. And so and then the distancing is just making it so that we can have another outbreak later and another lockdown later, right? And so anyway, I could go on and on with this Venus and Gemini, lots of words, right? But hang in there. We're coming into a very potent and powerful time next week. I think some spells may be broken, and maybe some more truth, maybe some shifting of the energy. Hold tight, be in the light. And why not now? Everything right now is working, even if it looks like it's working against you, is working for you, because you came here for this. And luckily we get to do it together. So I will see you on Monday. And I look forward to have a great weekend. And we got some powerful work to do together next week. So I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.